Well, good evening, community. Welcome to another episode of Both Sides of the Conversations. I am your co host, Mark Scott. We'll be holding it down this evening. Brother John is out in the community taking care of the people as always. And we also want to send up prayers to Sister Aya, who's taking care of community issues as well. As always, on Thursday nights, we do have our Educational Thursdays, and we have a couple of powerhouse titans who are going to be talking about generational wealth and multiple streams of income. This is always a very pertinent conversation. So, as always, before we get to our amazing guests, we are committed to making sure we get all the news and the events to you, community. So, I'm going to ask for your patience as I go into the news and the events. So, let's go ahead and jump in with our first headline. Biden, in rare criticism of Bibi, says pause in Gaza fighting should have come sooner. President Biden said Thursday it has taken Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu a little longer than hoped to meet Biden's request to briefly pause the fighting in Gaza after saying he doesn't believe a full ceasefire is possible. The criticism was unusual for Biden, who has publicly given Netanyahu his full backing since Hamas's attack on Israel on October the 7th. Biden spoke to reporters at Joint Base Andrews in suburban Washington before departing for a trip to Illinois, where he confirmed an Axios report that he had urged Netanyahu to agree to a 3-day pause in the fighting and said he'd asked Netanyahu for an even longer pause to try to get hostages released. And also in our news, U.S. forces targeted in broad Iraqi attacks since start of Israel and Hamas war. U.S. forces were targeted in 3 attacks in Iraq on Thursday, but suffered no casualties. Security sources have said in the most geographical, widespread series of strikes on U.S. assets in a single day since the Israel-Hamas conflict started. Spokespeople for the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad and U.S.-led international forces stationed in Iraq did not immediately respond to requests for comment, but a joint patrol of U.S. forces and the Iraqi counterterrorism service was targeted by an explosive device near the northern city of Mosul, causing damages to a vehicle but no casualties. And 2 security forces said armed drones also targeted the Al-Harar Air Base in Erbil and Ain al-Assad Air Base west of Baghdad, both of which house U.S. and international forces. The drones were downed by air defenses and caused no casualties, security sources said. And more closer to home, in national news, centrist Democrat Senator Joe Manchin says he will not seek re-election in 2024. Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia announced Thursday he will not run for re-election next year, a much anticipated decision that will reshape the battle for Senate control in 2024. The decision by Manchin, a former governor who has elected to the Senate in 2010 special election, is an earthquake in the battle for the Senate majority. It all but assures Republicans a pickup in the ruby red state of West Virginia, where Manchin has defied political gravity for years by keeping the seat in his party's hands. Donald Trump also won the state by 39 points in 2020, and Senator Steve Daines, a Republican from Montana, who's the chair of the National Republican Senatorial Committee, said in a terse statement, "We like our odds in West Virginia, and Governor Jim Justice and Representative Alex Mooney are both already running for the Republican nomination for the seat." And also in national headlines, former Baltimore prosecutor found guilty of perjury in federal court. Marilyn Mosby, a former Baltimore prosecutor who rose to national prominence for pursuing charges against police officers in connection with the death of Freddie Gray, was found guilty in federal court on 2 counts of perjury for falsely claiming financial hardship to withdraw money from a retirement fund. The verdict, coming after a brief 3-day trial, is a low point and a long fall from grace for Miss Mosby. Once the youngest top prosecutor of any major American city and a star of the police accountability movement, she faces up to 5 years in prison for each conviction, though typically sentences are far below the maximum. And her handling of Mr. Gray's case put her in national limelight, but a cascade of problems began shortly afterwards. Probably not a coincidence. But none of the prosecutors she brought against the officers in connection with Mr. Gray's death were successful. And that will do it for the headlines. Fortunately, it's always seemed like there's bad news community, but let's get to some of the more positive things that are going on closer to home for you community as we get into the community events. Both sides of the conversation invites you to nominate a Black San Francisco veteran to win a 1 hour personal storytelling session with our team. Please provide their name, a photo, branch, and years served, as well as contact information, the San Francisco neighborhood, and the reason for nominating at the email address below. And Into Action announces the Black Cultural Preservation Mini Grants Cycle 2, opening on October the 10th and closing on November 10th, 2023, for the December 1st through the February 28th, 2024. To apply, see the links below. And the California Lawyers for Arts presents the Bayview Urban Arts Festival on November 11th from 2 to 6 p.m. at the Bayview Opera House. This is a free community event featuring art installations, performers, and giveaways. For more info, see the link below. And the San Francisco Bay Area Theater Company invites you to the third New Roots Theater Festival for 6 performances over 3 days, Friday through Sunday, starting November 10th through the 12th at the Brava Theater Center. Live stream options are available. For more information, of course, see the link below. And the African American Shakespeare Company begins its 2023-2024 season with Death of a Salesman, Saturday, October the 28th through Sunday, November 12th at the Tawdry Atrium Theater. The 4-series season subscription also includes Cinderella, Pipeline, and The Merchant of Venice. Purchase tickets for one show or the series at the link below. And the SF Recovery Theater presents Reflections in Black 2023. New Roots Theater Festival, 1 weekend, 15 performances, 50 Bay Area artists through November 10th through the 12th, 2023 at the Brava Theater in San Francisco. Tickets available at the link below. And Dogs Club presents the Dogs Got Your Back basketball tournament for boys and girls 3rd through the 8th grade. Register your school or club team for only $325 with a 3-game guarantee. The tournament will be held at the CCSF, and for more info, visit the link below. And join the Rafiki Coalition for Visit the Presidio, walk the Bay Trail, and visit the Golden Gate Bridge Visitor Center on November 13th from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. The free shuttle leaves Rafiki, located at 601 Cesar Chavez Street, at 9:30 a.m. Free lunch will be provided, and for more info, call or text the number below. And the San Francisco Public Health Foundation, in collaboration with the San Francisco Department of Public Health, is requesting RFPs for the SDDT 2024 Healthy Community Support Grants. Apply now through November the 16th. For more info, follow the link below. And Supervisor Shaman Walton invites the community for an upcoming neighborhood office hour to speak with Supervisor Walton and discuss District 10 concerns on Thursday, November the 16th from 10 to 11:30 a.m. at Mission Blue Coffee. For more info, see the link below. And the Bayview community invites you to the Celebration of Lights on Friday, November 17th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Ruth Williams Opera House. There will be tree lighting, community dinner, children's activities, and more. For tickets and more info, visit the link below. The Fall 2023 Community Creatives Workshop welcomes you to a free family fun event on November 18th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Palaga Recreation Center located at 500 Felton Street in San Francisco. Participants can learn or improve a new skill, and with any of our specialized workshop topics, there will be sewing, hair braiding, self-defense, and beading and jewelry workshops. So also come and enjoy free food and prizes. For more info, register at the link below. And Fathers to Founders presents the Black is Beautiful Health Resort on November 18th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Tenderloin. We are seeking service providers, screeners, testers, and educators. For more info, see the number or the link below. And the AAACC asks you to join them for the Celebrate Black Music event. Save the date, Saturday, November 18th. For more info, see the link below. And join St. Anthony's Season of Hope for Giving Thanks on Golden Gate, November the 21st from 11:45 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 100 block of Golden Gate Avenue. There will be free activities like face painting and photo booth, giveaways, free raffle items, special guest appearances, music, and more. And HCN is excited to announce our annual turkey drive. We invite you to be part of this meaningful initiative by volunteering your time to help assemble meal boxes. To sign up for this event and explore other volunteer opportunities, please see the link in the description. SFHRC Dreamkeeper Initiative is pleased to announce the Cultural Wealth RFQ. Its purpose is funding qualifying organizations to partner with the SFHRC and other organizations to help promote and celebrate cultural wealth. Please see the links for more info. And Sisters Small Business Saturdays host holiday gift shopping on November 25th from 1 to 5 p.m. at In the Black. To register, visit the link below. Visit the Farmers Market located at Southeast Community Center at 1550 Evans Avenue in San Francisco every Thursday now through November 30th from 3 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. They accept cash, debit, and EBT. Mackey's Corner presents Mackey's Corner's Xmas on December 3rd from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. There will be food and dance, Black Santa, and presents. This event is to celebrate those who have been impacted by suicide. You must register to attend. And the San Francisco NAACP celebrates 95 years of service at the annual Freedom Fund Gala on December the 1st at the Hyatt Regency Grand Ballroom located at 5 Embarcadero Center in San Francisco. Single tickets are $150 and tables of 10 are $1,500. Register at the link or the number below. The Black Female Project is hosting Invest in You, a transformative leadership program December 1st and 2nd via Zoom with Charmaine McClare. Use coupon code WINNING2023 for $1,000 off. Register at the link below. And join the A. Philip Randolph Institute, Resilience Bayview, the Walter and Ellis Haas Fund, and the SFDPH to celebrate Resilient Bayview's 10th anniversary at the Southeast Community Center's Alex Pitcher Pavilion from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Tuesday, December the 5th. Seating is limited, so RSVP today at the link below. And come out to the legendary Peacock Lounge and Gold Room to celebrate jazz singer Terry Odabe. And on December the 8th, doors will open at 6 p.m. and the show will start at 7 p.m. Tickets are $15 in advance and $20 at the door. For tickets, follow the link below. And the OMI Cultural Participation Projects, The Lion King, Friday, December the 8th from 7:30 p.m. at the Orpheum Theater. 1192 Market Street in San Francisco. For more information, see the link below. Walter's Wellness Group invites you to the restorative retreat on December 9th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. for a one-day retreat where a team of expert facilitators led by Dr. Cynthia Walters will guide you through a transformational experience designed to help you get into your body and quiet your mind. For more info and to register, see the link below. And Dogs Clubs presents Holiday Hoops Basketball Tournament for boys and girls, 3rd through the 8th grade. Register your school or club team. It's only $325 with a 3-game guarantee. The tournament will be held at CCSF. And for more info, visit the link below. And the San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee cordially invites you to be a part of the conversation every second Monday of 2023. You may attend in person at City Hall, located at 1 Dr. Carlton B. Goodlett Place, or online by registering at the link below. Dreamkeeper San Francisco invites you to join us for community updates every 3rd Wednesday in 2023. These meetings are open to the public via Zoom. And for more information and the meeting link, please visit the site below. As part of their fall exhibitions, the St. Joseph's Art Society features works by visual artist Christopher Birch in transversing on geographies of blade and bone, now through Friday, December 15th at 1401 Howard Street in San Francisco. For more info, follow the link below. And Wu Yi presents the Holiday Pajama Jam for the Bottles and Blanket Pantry on Saturday, December 16th from 1 to 4 p.m., located at 4900 3rd Street in San Francisco. And come out for the Lorraine Hansberry Theater's 2023-2024 season, starting with A Soulful Christmas, a holiday concert with performances Thursday through Sunday, December 14th through the 17th at the Fort Mason Theater for Arts and Culture. Tickets are on sale now. For more info, visit the link below. And register your school's team for FR Soars Academy's Holiday Hoops Basketball Invitational for boys and girls 5th through 8th grade. The tournament starts on December 21st through the 23rd, located at St. Ignatius College Prep, located at 2001 37th Avenue in San Francisco. For more info, visit the links below. And the OMI Cultural Participation Project's The Wiz, Saturday, January 27th at 7:30 p.m. at the Golden Gate Theater, located at 1 Taylor Street in San Francisco. The African American Arts and Culture Complex invites you to the Season of Black Art inaugural event, introducing the October 2023 through February 2024 season at the AAACC, kicking off a captivating celebration of Black creativity and culture with special guests and performers. For more info and to register for free tickets, see the link below. And Into Action announces the Black Cultural Preservation Mini Grants Cycle 3, opening on January 25th and closing on February 26, 2024, for the March 1st through May 31st, 2024. You can get up to $9,500 in funding for Black cultural preservation events in the Tenderloin, Lakeview, Sunnydale, and Visitation Valley and OMI. To apply, see the link below. And DKI, the Dreamkeepers Initiative, announces the Senior Home Repair Program with an up to $50,000 forgivable loan to low to moderate income seniors and or disabled homeowners residing in historically distressed and underserved neighborhoods in San Francisco. For more info, see the links below. And the San Francisco Human Rights Commission has regular bi-monthly commission meetings on the second and fourth Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. in San Francisco City Hall, room 416. You can also attend via Zoom. And Fathers to Founders host child support clinics every Tuesday and Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 232 6th Street. Receive essential guidance on child support, debt reduction, resolving driver's license holds, pursuing custody of your children, and establishing visitation rights. For clinic appointments, call the number below. And Dreamkeepers announces the Down Payment Assistance Loan Program. You could receive up to $500,000 for down payment assistance and up to $30,000 for closing costs, and connect with housing counselors, lenders, and realtors. For info, see the link below. Walters Wellness Group invites you to Sip Paint Center every first, third, and fifth Friday, where you can unwind and set the tone for your weekend, fueled by tea, creativity, and grounding. Hosted by Dr. Cynthia Walters, or Dr. C as they call her, and the Walters Wellness Group. For more info, see the link below. And join Fathers to Founders for Fatherhood Reimagined Therapy Group Sessions, held every Tuesday night, 6 to 7:30 p.m. It's ongoing. It began on October 24th, and it's located at 232 6th Street in San Francisco. There will be food served at each session. For more info, see the link and the number below. The APRI is hosting youth workshops, offering job referrals, resume building, skill building, internships, professional networking, and community service hours, located at 1301 Evan Avenue in San Francisco. To schedule a Zoom or phone appointment, see the link or a number below. And come out to the Fillmore's Friday night market every Friday from 4 to 9 p.m. on O'Farrell Street between Fillmore and Steiner for live music, barbecue, soul food, frozen desserts, retail vendors, games for kids, a dominoes tournament, prizes, and entertainment. Vendor booths are available. Register at the link below. And the new vaccination site offers the COVID-19 booster and monkeypox antiviral pill treatment. Thursdays from 1 to 5 p.m. at 330 Ellis Street, as well as Saturdays from 12 to 4 p.m. at 1221 Mission Street. And the community living room is open all day, Monday through Friday, with breakfast being served from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and a grab-and-go lunch available from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. at the City of Hope Cafe, located at 750 Ellis Street in San Francisco. And the San Francisco Office of Financial Empowerment announces Smart Money Coaching, which provides free, confidential, one-on-one financial guidance. The program is available to anyone living, working, or receiving services in San Francisco in English or Spanish, with additional translation services as requested. For more info, see the link and number below. And the Bayview Collective and both sides of the conversation are calling all Bayview community members to help shape the future of our community together. The Bayview Collective is conducting a survey to tap into the heart of our district, which is you. Your insights will directly influence the initiatives we undertake to enhance the quality of life in our vibrant community. Take the survey at the link below. And be a mentor in SFUSD. You can join SFUSD's school-based mentoring program, Mentoring for Success. You can sign up to volunteer as an individual or group mentor, district-wide. Both sides of the conversation is calling on conscious individuals and organizations to sponsor our third annual African American History Bowling event and award ceremony. The award ceremony will be held on February 24th from 6 to 8 p.m. And the bowling event will be hosted on February 25th, 2024 from 2 to 5 p.m. For more info on sponsorship, please see links below. And both sides of the conversation needs your skill and ability to engage youth. We're looking for community members to participate in basketball and recreational activities and mentor youth on Saturdays at the San Francisco Juvenile Detention Center. Stipends will be paid, and for more info, see the link below. And would you like to promote your business, nonprofit, or community impact? Sign up for our Hidden Gems show or share your expertise on an educational Thursday, or you can also be a panelist on our Sunday conversations. And also keep up with both sides of the conversation's latest shows and community outreach events. Follow us on all social media platforms. You can also subscribe to our newsletter at both sides of the converse at bsotc.org. And both sides of the conversation also welcomes individuals who are interested in giving back to their community to join us as volunteers. We value the positive impact volunteers can make and invite you to be a part of our mission to uplift and support our community. Also, both sides of the conversation kindly request your invaluable support for our podcast and community engagement endeavors. We cordially invite you to explore any of our donation links, as your generous contributions will greatly aid us in enhancing our programming. And we would like to take this time to acknowledge the Dream Keepers Initiative and its support of both sides of the conversation's programming. The Dream Keeper Initiative amplifies the voices of and invest in San Francisco's diverse Black communities to reform public safety, address structural inequities in San Francisco. To learn more, see the link below. And also, don't forget to tune in for our upcoming shows. This Sunday's conversation on November the 12th, we will be honoring Black San Francisco veterans with stories of their service and sacrifice. And also next Tuesday on the 14th, we do have a Hidden Gems show. Thank you, community. And again, I do want to apologize for any technical difficulties that we may have, but just know that we are committed to continue to get out this information. And now, as I get ready to bring up our guest, let me just start by setting the mood here with an introduction to our topic for the evening. Because planning for the future is more than establishing a savings account and creating a best fitting budget for you and your family. It's also about thinking how investments, ownership, entrepreneurship, and managing long-term debt affects the financial security of future familial generations. In the Black community, building generational wealth hasn't been easy to either attain or maintain, and for multiple factors. Comparatively, Black families achieve considerably less wealth than white families, with a median net worth of about $24,100 compared to $188,200. Even more, Black workers make up about 12.9% of the U.S. labor force currently, and yet earn only 9.6% of total U.S. wages. So according to the McKinsey & Company report, the median income for Black workers is about 30% less than that of their white counterparts. So how might that be true? Well, it turns out that Black workers have historically been represented in lower wage occupations, which impacts how much they can save and, generally speaking, the amount of wealth that they can acquire. So since we're talking now, we're going to go ahead and bring up our guest to talk about generational wealth and how to develop multiple streams of income. So without no further ado, I want to bring to the platform Miss Cynthia Yannacone and Mr. Sean Johnson. How are y'all doing this evening?
Good evening here. Happy and excited to be here to share this knowledge with everyone.
Well,
Evening, doing great. Always great to be here.
Thank you so much. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you guys joining. This is not your first time. Y'all are family here. You know how it goes on Educational Thursdays. We are literally giving you the keys to drive the car. You're going to have the platform to educate the community. I will put myself on mute and let you guys take over.
Thank
Right
you,
on.
Mark.
Appreciate it. But hey, Mark, hey, appreciate all the info you got out there to the community. You can go take a breath, grab some water now, rehydrate a little bit. But if you do, as we're going through this, if you do have any questions, you think anything that you want to throw in there or you want to ask us about in that moment, go ahead and do it. Right? We can keep this live, we can keep it fun, we can keep it interactive, and that'll just make it that much better for anyone that's tuning in, listening now, or anybody that watches it after the fact. So
Thank you.
awesome. Well, hey, here's us. Go and take some screenshots. We're around. You can call us. You can email us. Info's all there. Hey, we are here to celebrate the community and to go into the community and help uplift the community. So that's our info. Reach out to us. It'll be out there throughout our talk tonight. So tonight we're going to be talking about generational wealth. Our goal is always to share the information, get the information into our communities, because as we were just saying, it's it's not even, right? The numbers are skewed, and there's a reason for that, but there's not a good reason for it. We're here to make that impact so we can shift those scales, right? Let's even them up. If we're gonna have them be uneven, let's have them be uneven for us, right? Why not? So goal is generational wealth. Let's get the information out there so that not just us, but we can teach the generations after generations after generations to be able to be successful and maintain that success and pass it on to someone else. That's one of the biggest reasons we have the gaps, is because people don't have the conversations. They don't talk about the information that needs to be shared. We want to and keep it all to ourselves. That's not how we change the narrative. So for me, that's actually a big part of what even got me into this industry. So this picture right here, it's my family's cabin in Tahoe. It's not a big place. I'm not showing to brag by any means, but it was always a key place for me. I always loved it as a kid. You know, the smell of my aunts and my grandmother in that little kitchen cooking food for the entire family, you know, sleeping in the 3 beds, but the rest of the couches and floors and everything. Those memories meant something to me. And when my grandfather passed away day before I started high school, I remember asking my dad, saying, "Hey, Dad, what's going to happen to the cabin?" And he said, "You know what? Don't worry about it. Gramps had something in place, so when he passed away, the cabin would be paid for." I went on about my way as a blind little high schooler, not realizing what any of that meant. Now, fast forward into my adult life, I'm going, oh my gosh, Nan and Gramps had that life insurance. They had the estate planning. They did things to create and preserve that legacy that they could pass on to the family. And what that's done for me and my family is it allowed my cousins that I grew up on the peninsula on the coast. My cousins grew up across the bay in Concord. We weren't close. We didn't get to hang out. But during COVID, guess what? They became our bubble. We got to hang out. It was a great time. It was fun. We had a place to go to. We had some great times, created some great memories, gave us a place to go and hang out to. And you know what? Now it gives a place that I can go with my son, and my son can go out and hang out and create memories. Our goal is to get out there into the community and be able to show other people how to create memories. I haven't made it by any means, and I know I definitely have not done part to continue the legacy in my family. That's why I'm still striving for it, to make sure I have all the right things in place and make sure that it's set up properly so that it will be maintained from one generation to the next, to the next, to the next. So just want everybody to know a little bit about where I'm coming from. I'll go ahead and pass it to my sister, Cynthia Yannacone, to go ahead and share a little bit about herself.
Yes, thank you, Sean. Yeah, I really appreciate that. And I'm here to also just, why I'm doing what I'm doing is so important. But first of all, it's because of my dad. My dad's name is John Yannacone. He's my inspiration to help others. Why? Because when he transitioned, he didn't have a living trust in place. He didn't have life insurance. And my mom lost his pension plan after he worked 40 stinky years, like he would say, at Kaiser. And my mom already had lost her 401k in the 2008 crash. So all this happened. My family friend reached out to me, and I thought I had it all, and then realized how much I needed to learn and keep learning. And like you see my dad there with money on him. there was times he wanted to talk to me about money, but I didn't want to talk about money because I didn't know anything. And because I went to school and I got a master's, he was always talking about how much money I was making, or more money than I was making than him, when he started working so many years and I just barely started working. And so I felt bad. And, we didn't go further with any more conversations because I didn't even know either, because there were things that were not even taught in the university level, how important it is now, to create that wealth. And through this experience, that's why my vision is to break the cycle of poverty and create generational wealth for the Black and Brown communities. And, there I am with my dad. I want to say I was his favorite little girl, because I would go surprise him at the senior center that he would go to. And he was just a hardworking man, very family oriented. He really dedicated himself to family and work. And that was so special for him. And I think that's why he wanted to talk about money stuff with me. And I didn't know. And now that I know what I know, I can't stop talking about it, right? I can't stop sharing the information, because, we opened up before COVID, we had opened up an office out in San Bruno. And the week before we opened it, I thought it was 103, since upstairs was 203. It happened to be 111. And that's my dad's birthday. And I think that's when my dad gave me confirmation, like, you need to help others. Like, I needed the help. So, and then I started helping myself, obviously, too, in the process. And, and then my kids, they see my whole family there. But my oldest daughter does what I do. She's a beauty, finance, and fitness. She's on TikTok and, you know, doing what she needs to do. And then my other younger kids, well, not too younger, right? One's 20 and the other one's 19. They are very much involved too, learning. It's a process, it's a real process. And everybody will figure it out when they need to figure it out. There, my daughter's, working on figuring when to get licensed and study. My son is at the same time also figuring it out, because we don't talk about money. Like Sean said, it's like, we don't want to talk about it. So then it's like, and I'm trying to break that, like, let's talk about it. Where are you guys at? Like, a budget and figuring out things, because I think those are very important things for them to learn. So overall, so just really excited to be here to share this information. And like Sean said, it starts with a conversation and, ongoing conversations after that, just to get people going. And one of the things that Bryant, sorry, he said is, the biggest mistake we make in life is thinking we have more time. And believe me, like, I feel that way too. Like, but that's why I had to make a lot of changes. And even with my kids, like, help them understand, like, people think, oh, well, I'm going to retire later so I can start, later. And it's not like that, because the two factors in creating wealth are time and money. And you got to have that knowledge to know how much time and, money you need. It's and the family you want to be with, and leave whatever you can. So it's so important to know that, we got to appreciate the time that we have, because we don't have that much time on this earth, honestly. So it's generational wealth starting with you. So if you're around, grab a pen, grab a paper if you want, kind of just, jot these questions down. If you don't want to answer them now, that's okay. But at the end of the day, there's something that you can reflect on that would be really important in helping in this process. So starting with question number 1, what does financial wellness mean to you? So I think that's just really important to think about. I mean, financial wellness for me is so much, right? And in so many ways, whether it's the budgeting, making sure that you're not creating debt or bad debt and things like that. Where are you saving, and strategies, and being just open to learning more about what it means to be financially well off and well, taking care of your priorities in your financial needs. And number 2, think about your beliefs about money. Where did they come from? What are you teaching your kids? This is really big, because my dad, he used to say money doesn't grow on trees, and money doesn't grow on trees. And I feel like that created a lot of scares. Or he would say, I'm broke. And then I'd be like, Daddy, you're not broke. But, those kind of beliefs were in my space. But, now that I know what I know too, it's like money comes to me easily and effortlessly. My income is constantly increasing, are the affirmations that I put out there. And I'm, also again, teaching my kids, teaching my grandbabies, because I have grandbabies too. And I think that's important because it has to start out young to learn and to teach and everything like that. But I'm teaching obviously my kids like to think differently about starting your own pension plan without having to have a job per se, include attached to that pension plan. So it's really important. Just got to be open-minded. So number 3, reflect on your last 5 years of finances. What grade would you give yourself? Whether, it's an A, whether it's an F, whether it's a B, whether it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I think that will help you figure out, okay, if I'm going to C, like, how can I get to an A? So you can think about different strategies of how to get there, but at least it'll be something that you reflect on and you think about and kind of help you make progress. And progress equals happiness. So, you just got to check in with yourself. Number 4, what do you wish you could do differently and change moving forward to reach your goals? And there's just so many things that you can do out there, but I think important is to just be aware, have conversations with other people around that. Here we are, me and Sean, we're more than available to talk to you around that to help, because if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results. So it's really important to think about different things and have short and long-term goals as well. And, we always talk about the mindset, right? We got to shift a lot of our mindset, and like I said, my dad used to say that money doesn't grow on trees. To shift that, to protect, the money that I have, or what, whatever the assets, things, and then it could grow, and then I could be able to pass it on. And that's something that with my own experience, I was able to help my mom get her living trust, my sister, myself, because I want to pass things on to my kids. I'm sure you who are out there that have kids, love your kids as much as I love my kids. And I just didn't want them to go through a lot of heartaches, because it's not if, it's when, we transitioned. And so I think it's important to know and all of that stuff. So the first one is the income protection option, and knowing how much you need. Every family is different. You're married or you're not married. How much income protection would your family need should something happen to you? And, and with that income protection as well, it's something else that you can pass on to generations. So you just got to figure out what would work for you. And number 2 is retirement options. So I'm just thinking about my dad again, because he said, oh, you're going to have to be 72 when you retire. And I'm like, no, daddy. So this is why I do what I do. Me and Sean are here because we want to have different retirement experiences. I think still want to be young and be able to travel or do what we need to do, stay with, be with our kids, see our grandkids grow up, at least because I have them. But, it's like at the end of the day, we want retirement options that are going to fit our lifestyle. And I think that's the other thing that people don't talk about that. And that's why we have, I'll talk a little bit more about it later, but it's the FIN, the Financial Independence Needs Number, that everybody needs. And then children's future. This is so important as well, because, we don't want just the college plans for our kids. I mean, if my daughter's actually starting this business and other business, and my son, and they're all working together. I'm like, it's so interesting. And, but maybe they want to buy a house. Maybe they want more things for themselves in the future, especially also for my grandchildren. So I feel like you have to create options for them through different strategies that wealthy people have been using for a very long time. And generational wealth, right? That's what our topic is, like just talking about how do we transfer that over, how do we make sure? And one of the things, like a living trust, but, building the wealth first is really important. And so you have to have the income, you have to figure out, whether it's through a business, your job, I don't know. But at the end of the day, you just got to find out how to increase your income and where to put that money at so that it's building for you. And then multiple streams of income. So at one point I used to have like 10 jobs, but now I don't. But at the end of the day, multiple streams of income looks different for different people. But at the end of the day, I think what's important is to have that, because it's like the same thing. Like, don't put your eggs all in one basket. That might not work. So it's so important. And having a business or starting a business is one way as well. And multiple businesses at that. So who is really what? And rich or poor? And I think we get stuck kind of like figuring out that, or we get like trying to figure out what it is. Am I rich? Am I poor? But at the end of the day, it's kind of confusing, right? Because sometimes we don't realize the people who are actually poor are the ones that are spending more money, that are trying to live a life that they really can't afford. And yeah, they may look glamorous and doing all this stuff, but at the end, they're in debt and they're, doing bankruptcy and things like that. Where someone who's really rich is more humble sometimes, and also, they're spending their money wisely. Maybe they go to Ross instead of Nordstrom's, or who knows, right? They're figuring it out, but at least they're making different choices around how to spend their money. And I think that, when you live within your means, it's all good too. People have to figure it out, but this is really so you can see the difference about what it, could be rich and what could be poor, and how looks can be deceiving at times. Generational wealth starts with a plan. And I think for anything in life, right, you got to create a plan. If it's whether it's educational, life plan, I think it's all important to have a plan. And that's the thing, most people don't, right? It's not that they just fail to plan because they don't have that. So what's important to plan is planning out for your financial journey. What does that look like to you? Again, it might be different, but what is it that you want to do in the future? Do you want to have your dream home in some island somewhere? Do you want to own multiple homes? Do you want to be a real estate investor? I mean, it all depends, right? Everything is up to you on how you want your life. So do you want to travel around the world? My son is actually in Japan right now. I'm so proud of him, so happy for him. So, travel can be one thing, and, you've got to plan, but you have to have enough funds to do certain things, right? You plan out your budget. And I'm kind of laughing out loud about that, because when he was going to Japan, I'm like, how much is your budget? How much you taking? Like, it's just like really, and some things like that are so important. Like overall, you need a budget, right, for just life. But then when you do projects or travel, you need to have a budget too, to help you figure out, the plane ticket, the stay, how you're going to spend your money while you're there. So, plan out your budget in all aspects of areas in your life. Plan to have a good credit awareness. I remember when I was in college, that was a time when they were just giving out credit cards left and right with, a water bottle here, a little bag over here. And so everybody was like, getting it. And then you create debt. I've been in debt, out of debt, been in debt, and out of debt. So it's like, you have to understand what it means to have good credit, that awareness around that. Have the proper life insurance plans. And this was also something like I learned more and more, because like when I said my family friend reached out to me, I was like, oh, I think I'm set. And here I have a home right in Bayview, and I only had a life insurance for 45,000. God is good. That's all I say. God has been good to me, because if I would have gone too soon, my kids would probably been homeless. It would have been all bad. But now that I know what I know, I have to do things that are different to protect my home, to protect my kids, and everything that I have. But it's just really interesting understanding and learning about life insurance. Plan for your retirement. So that's a whole nother thing that's so important. Start now around that. It's so important to figure out things so that when you do retire, you're not trying to go back, or not that you're trying, that you have to go back to the work field and work at, whether it's Walmart or Target, or where we see the older people working sometimes. And we hope that, that's why I'm saying it's so important to plan for retirement, because you want to avoid that happening to you. Plan to leave a massive estate. Yes. Like I said, you want to buy multiple properties, like, or, own, do things differently, commercial, all these things add up. So, having that estate planning is so important, especially so that it could be protected. So, yeah, the most important need, you just got to plan, right? It says it there. Plan, plan, plan. If it can say more than that. Now going into the short-term goals or long-term goals, the 3 to 6, the 7 to 48, it's up to you, right? At the end of the day, and you'll figure out. We're going to have some examples coming up right now about how much to save, maybe how long it'll take you to save, but you got to start now and figure it out what it is for you. And so these are just purely examples, but just so that it brings some awareness on what you want to have, in order to save. Like, I'm right now in this process of like, I want to buy a car, and I've saved some, and then I've used some. So I got to like replenish that. And at the end of the day, it's just really being aware of where you're spending your money and for what. So, just being mindful, and it kind of goes back to the budgeting aspect around it too. You want to budget for your savings. And then there's the earnings versus expenses, right? Because sometimes, at the end of the day, there are things that that you don't plan for, like a flat tire or something that you're just like happens and you have to. So it's really important to understand too, like, what are your monthly expenses? So with my kids, that's kind of what we're going through too. Like, hey, rent is one thing, having your life insurance, having your own pension plan. We got to plan out, at the end of the day. So, as they, go into adulting, however you want to call it, they have to understand what's important and why, how much they're earning. They're both working too. So it's like, they're seeing that, like the value of what it is to make money, and the cost of living, and, what kind of expenses they're going, that they have, or that anybody has, to make sure that you're making your ends meet, right? And you're not living paycheck to paycheck like most people. And going into like the debt management, like there is some good debt, there's bad debt, but it's just important to understand that. And the good uses of debt, purchasing a home, appreciation or from assets. So just kind of, you'll see what there is such thing as good debt. And of course, the bad debt you want to avoid, especially with the credit cards and things like that, when the interest rates are outrageous, like outrageous. That's why, they're winning their money so fast. It's, compounding fast. So we want to avoid that. We want to make sure it compounds for us. So that's why we're here, to teach you different little strategies on how to make your money compound as fast as the credit cards do. Yes.
Nice. Thank you, Cynthia. And this just completely got me when this is actually a screenshot from part of our financial needs analysis that we put together for our clients. And the first time I read it, I wasn't the first time. Let me be honest. But after I got through it a couple, it caught me that it said bad debt, credit cards, credit cards, credit cards. What's the first thing we all get offered once we hit 18? You get that credit card offer in the mail for what, a $500 limit? Because what are you going to even do with that besides get in trouble, right? But you get this credit card for a $500 limit, and by the time you get it, with the startup fees and the initiation fees and the risk fees and whatever else, you already owe $100, $200 before you even got the card in your hand. But is one thing to be told you're going to get this credit card with a $500 or $5,000 limit, but the other is you have to actually pay it back. Again, you have to plan to pay it back. So it's just really being aware of how all of the little things that we do that we oftentimes don't even think about, how much of an impact they'll have for us down the road. Just like Cynthia was talking about when she mentioned income protection. Well, people think, okay, well, my income, I'll have some disability, I'll have my time off, my vacation, my PTO, whatever. But do we realize how long that's actually going to last? Because our income is that one key component that allows us to do everything else. So if our income is not there, we're unable to earn our income due to sickness, injury, not our fault, right? We're just alive and life happens. We get sick, we get injured. It's going to happen to us. But we're not able to earn our income, which allows us to properly plan for retirement, which allows us to set our children up properly, which allows us to create the package to create the generational wealth and look into options for making additional income to do it more and do it faster. But we got to think about the little things that we need to put in place first and right away to make sure that we set ourselves up right for success. So when we think about it, and one of the areas that we really come in and we like to break down for our clients is understanding where is your money? How is it working for you? How is it growing? Is it at risk? Is it protected? Because if you want to pass on wealth, you have to amass and protect that wealth, right? Your money has to grow for you, but you also have to protect it. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. It's one thing to say, oh, my stock went up 350%. Right. Did it stay at 350% up, or did it drop back down 250 and then another 350? So we show our clients how to get a grip back on their money again. So we do that by using a simple strategy. It's called an indexing strategy, where your money mirrors the market, but it's not in the market. So the market goes up, you make money. When it goes down, you lock in your gains. Goes up, you make money. It goes down, lock in your gains. These first two locks right here, the dot-com bubble and the housing market bubble. When both of those bubbles burst, guess what? Our clients did not lose money because we had their funds in a protected account. They did not have to worry about the downside of the market. Think about it. When you don't have to worry about losing money, you don't know exactly how much you're going to make, but you know you're not going to ever lose anything. How much easier is it? How much more confident do you feel about planning for your future, to be able to plan for those future generations? Because you repeat that process. Goes up, make money, lock into the gains. Lock in your gains, lock in your gains. It really allows you to put a plan together that allows you to not just plan for your future, but what you want to leave behind. Because think about this, y'all. If your future, if my future is up to chance, if I don't know how much I'm going to have later on, I might put myself in a position where I've got to be really careful with how much I spend if I want to leave anything. But that's why we talk with people about utilizing some of the strategies that wealthy Americans have been using for not just decades, but generations, to grow that money, protect it, and pass it on and leave those legacies. So one of the first steps we take with our clients is help them find their FIN number, financial independence needs number. Do you know what yours is? Hope you got that pen and paper. Here's how we calculate it. What age would you like to retire at? Let's say 65. Cool. How much money would you like to have coming in every month net in retirement? Let's say we say $5,000 a month. If average life expectancy is about 85 years old, so 85 minus 65, right? Life expectancy minus the year age we want to retire, that's 20 years of retirement income that we need to have. So monthly income times 12 equals your annual needs, $60,000, times that 20 years. We need to have $1.2 million saved up. How do these numbers look for everybody? If you break down how much money you need to have coming in, and then we're in California, right? We're in the Bay Area for a lot of us. How much money do we need to have coming in? How much money do we want to have coming in? Because our needs are likely to be over that $5,000 mark if we're living in the Bay Area. So just covering our basic needs versus actually going out and living our life, enjoying our life. And hey, maybe we don't want to retire at 65. I know Cynthia mentioned you want to retire young. I love going on cruises. I love checking out other areas and countries and places I haven't been to before. I don't want to have to do it with my walker. I want to be able to do it and go out and experience those things while I'm young, I'm healthy, I can get around and do it all and appreciate it, not be on a bunch of pain meds because I can't move my legs. So think about what plans we need to put in place to be able to set ourselves up to allow us to be able to pass on that legacy, to work hard to create that generational wealth. Right. Now, I throw this up there because the largest account that most people have when it comes to funds and money and savings is their retirement account. That retirement account for most of us in our generations, the last couple generations, has been their 401k. We know Honda makes a great vehicle. We know the Civic's been one of the staples around. But if Honda came out and said, you know what, by the way, the Civic's a bad thing, we goofed, it's probably going to blow up on you, would you still go out and buy one? Probably not. But y'all can look this up. Ted Benna, and I'm not saying it's the worst thing in the world. I just want to bring awareness to people, right? I've had my 401ks, right? I've Ks, right? I had multiple of them. I've maxed them out. I've borrowed from them, paid them back. Borrowed from them, not paid them back. I've done it all. So I'm just telling you what I wish somebody had told me. But he said, the quote at the bottom there, if I was starting over from scratch today, I'd blow up the existing structure and start over. If you don't understand the tools that you're using, how to use the tools you're using, you're not likely to be able to reach your end goal. You're probably not going to build what you intend to build with that tool. We've got to understand what tools we're using and how the best way is to use them to be able to pass on wealth. Because when we pass on wealth, do we want our loved ones to have to worry about state tax and federal tax? Do we want loved ones to have to worry about, well, how old was Sean when he passed away? So we figure out when we're forced to take money out of this plan. Are we able to take money out of the plan now because he was or wasn't a certain age or not? How about we just make sure that everything's in place to pass on to our loved ones? They get to do whatever they want with it, and they get 100% of it. That's what's big for me. Most of us are, when we talk about especially planning for our futures, our retirements, we're going down that default plan. We're using the information and the tools that the generations before us used. But guess what? This is not a first generation Android. Okay? I'm sure none of y'all have a first generation iPhone or that flip phone that we thought we were cool with the antenna that pulled out. Right? Things have upgraded, things have changed. Same thing with our finances, same thing with the plans that we need to put in place to make sure we secure everything and we're able to retire in the means we want to. We're able to pass on the legacy we want to. Because you can't put enough money statistically, numerically, into a 401k alone. Pension plans used to be a main thing. Pension plans are a thing of the past. It's very, very rare that somebody has a pension plan, much less a good one. And Social Security, that was never intended to be a be-all depend on retirement. That was a supplement in case you live too long. So the question is, what are we doing? What are we doing that's going to allow us to create a solid stool that after we've been grinding since we were 14, 16 years old, we've got something comfortable to sit down on, not some splintery looking thing that I wouldn't ask my worst enemy to sit on. Okay. Retirement, Social Security. Is Social Security really retirement fund? No, it was primarily an anti-poverty program. People didn't live that long before. That's why companies didn't trip over the pension plans. Right? They weren't worried about having to pay somebody out for 30 years after they retired. Now that's a thing. Same thing with Social Security. It was meant to take care of if you lived too long, but now everybody's living too long. There's more people that are taking out of it than are paying into it. So we just need to be aware of what's out there, because if we're planning on certain things that aren't going to be what we anticipate them to be, how are we going to have anything left to pass on? Right? If we don't have enough for ourselves, how do we do something for others? So you got to make sure you take care of yourself first and foremost. Now, we've talked about life insurance a little bit today. We've definitely talked about it before. But I want you all to take a look at this article here and how to use life insurance to leave an inheritance. There's a wonderful little phrase that, I don't know about y'all, but like Cynthia mentioned, like, what are your beliefs on money? And when I first heard this, I didn't like it. It was OPM, other people's money. Well, why would I want to use other people's money for stuff to get ahead? That doesn't feel right. I should be using my own money and working hard for it and everything else. But then you think about it and you realize it's called leverage. And it's what everybody else does. That's how everything goes around. Right? You've never seen our good buddy Jeff from Amazon dropping our packages off, have you? Right? He's leveraging other people's time and their money to build his business to make him money. Right? You've never seen a person that owns Costco checking you out there, saying, thanks for shopping here. Come again. No, they're nowhere near around. Right? So OPM and life insurance, when used properly, and I'll touch on this for a second, but when used properly, you can set it up to pass on money without taxes, without the limitations, without the restrictions that people have to be concerned about, which really worries people to even touch something, to use something, because if we're scared about it, we don't know it, we don't understand it, how do we use it? Right. One of the things we do is we break things down for our clients. Whatever type of plan program you're interested in looking into, we're going to make sure we take our time to break it down with you and explain to you what is it, how do we use it, and how do I best set it up to serve its purpose for me. Okay. So there's several different types of life insurance. And when we talk about being able to use it to pass on a value, pass on an estate, a legacy, that term value there, you see, it's not included in that cash value portion. The term is meant to cover a portion of time while we're still building up our assets, but we're still paying down our debts. So that gap in between there, the term is supposed to take care of. It's not permanent. It's not guaranteed to pay out. Your permanent plans, they will. As long as you structure properly, you fund it properly, it will pay out properly. Now, there's all the little details in between those, which we can get into later, but as to which plan is going to be best for you, that all depends on what your risk tolerance is, how well you're able to fund it, how young you are, how old you are, how healthy you are. All of those things come into play. But guess what? We know all of that stuff. So we sit down again, we talk you through it, we break it down for you so it makes sense. Quick breakdown. Some of the term policies that are out there will actually come with living benefits. What's that mean? We talked about income protection. If you lose your income, I'm sure you've all seen those champagne towers, right? They're pouring the champagne from the bottle and another bottle comes and another bottle. But what if that bottle is your income and those glasses that are there and look real pretty represent the things in your life that you need your income to pay for? If there isn't another bottle because you got sick or injured and there's no more champagne to pour and fill those glasses, what do those bottom glasses, or heck, maybe those middle glasses, depending on when it happens, what do those glasses represent for you? Is it the third car, the second car? Is it the first car? Is it the house? Those glasses represent the kids playing the sports that they want, participate in the activities they want to do, the family vacations. What glasses wouldn't be filled if you couldn't go out there and earn your income? Having living benefits protects that for you, because if your income is tossed off, how do you do anything else? Your income is a driving force that allows you to be successful, to achieve, to set up, to plan for everything else you want to do. We got to make sure we protect it. Number 2, an IUL, Index Universal Life. It's one of the best kept secrets out there. There's a lot of us that are out there talking about it, but you know what? Everybody doesn't truly understand them. They don't understand how to structure them properly. They don't understand what they're really about. It's different for each individual person. Some people want to use it just for protection. Some people want to use it for an emergency fund. Some people want to set it up for retirement or set it up for their kids to use for college or whatever they need to do when they're 18. We can do all of those things, but it depends on the individual, what they'd like to do, what they can do, and what they need to do, right? What people want, what people need, and what people can afford are often 3 different things. That's okay. That's called normal. That's life. But we'll sit down with you to show you, hey, what's the best way to structure something that allows you to pass on wealth? Why am I talking about life insurance, spending a few minutes on it here when it comes to excuse me, that legacy plan, to passing on the estate, the wealth to the next generation? Because a properly structured plan, you will never put anywhere near into it as you and your loved ones will get out of it. Let me say that again. A properly structured plan, you will never contribute to it anywhere near what you and your loved ones will get out of it. That's why these things are so powerful when it comes to passing on wealth, to setting up that next generation to the next generation to the next generation. Just understanding a couple of key components and starting off early can be instrumental for our success. So generational wealth exists with a plan. If we don't have the plan, we haven't planned out our journey. If we're going someplace, heck, how many of y'all are like me? And I know where I'm going. I know how to get to mom's place. But, I still put Waze on, so tell me if there's a cop as I get off the bridge, because you just want to know those things. We plan everything out. We plan out our financial journey, our life financially. Have we planned out our budget? If we don't have a budget in place, how do you know what your next move is going to be? It's a guess. Again, default future or designed future? Which would you rather have? Good credit awareness. Just understanding if you plan out where you want to be and how you want to get there, and you plan out your budget, you know how much is coming in and how much is going out and where it's going out to. Not, oh snap, I forgot about that. No, we want to avoid those, okay? But by doing all of that, that's just going to organically set up a good credit. The proper plans in place. That's where you want to talk to the right people. You want to talk to people that are licensed, that are educated, that are knowledgeable on not just finances and stuff in general, but current finances in general. One of the best things I've ever heard, my buddy talked to his dad. He said, you know what? I went to high school with him, so we're the same age. And he talked to his dad and said, hey, I want to start planning this and that and everything else for my future, my family. And his dad said, you know what, son, great job. I'm glad you're thinking that way. But you know what? I'm not the person to talk to. Your mother and I did well, but Our knowledge is from like the 60s and 70s. That's not now. You need to talk to somebody that's doing this stuff right now to give you the current, latest, and greatest information, and then educate yourself and make a decision from there. Wise man. Wise man. Plan to enjoy, not ration your retirement. We've heard people say that you should do one thing and invest something else. Well, if that's the only thing we're doing, and I'm being slightly vague there because I don't want to directly take a shot at anybody, but if we're only dependent on our investments, which most of us don't understand that well and or don't have enough to fund properly for it to grow properly, we're going to have to ration our retirement. If all I have, if I'm only dependent on something that's an if come maybe for my future, I am very likely to have to limit and ration my future if I want to leave anything behind. Or I just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to live for me and good luck to everybody else. Hope you all figure it out. Depends where you're at. What would you like to do for your loved ones? Have that massive estate. Again, if it's planned for, you can do it. But here's the key thing. Generational wealth requires enough income. As much as we want to be successful in all these other areas, our income needs to be protected, and we need to make sure that we make enough. So the last part that we want to touch on real quick tonight is having those multiple streams of income. There are so many different ways to earn income now. If COVID did anything, it exposed that there's a ton, almost limitless ways of us to go out there and earn additional income. The question is, how many of us are taking advantage of it? What would you like to do? What would it take for you to earn income? How many of y'all out there have ever thought about starting your own business? And then after the thought, how many of y'all have looked into it? And after that, how many of y'all were actually able to get that off the ground, to get that started? Because most businesses, they require a lot of capital up front. You've got to have a solid idea, and you have to have the plan and the system in place to execute all of that so that it can be lucrative. So whatever it is, but find your passion. Find something that you're passionate about that you can use, you can put that passion and energy into to help earn you some additional income. As I'm sure you can tell with us, we're passionate about getting into our communities, about sharing information about wealth, about finances, about money. Again, having those conversations about money, about life, the stuff that a lot of times, you know what, people just don't want to talk about. They're too shy to do it. Guess what? We want to be there for you to be able to have those conversations. So if you feel that it's important to protect your income, to show others how to protect their income, to understand retirement, to plan for it, to show others how to do that, to set their kids, make sure that whether it's college, starting a business, or just going out and enjoying their life, that they can be financially successful. Or if you want to pass on that generational wealth. If that stuff appeals to you, or somebody you know that appeals to them, we are looking for key people that like to help others, that have that passion, that heart to go out into their communities and go out there and make a difference, to get the information into the hands of the people that don't have it, that deserve it, probably more than anybody else. Because I know there's a lot of us in the Black and brown communities that are working harder than anybody else out there, but guess what? We're still struggling more than anybody else out there. Hard work doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make a bunch of money. We want to make sure that hardworking people have that exact same opportunity to be successful financially. So find something that's your passion. If the things that we've talked about tonight are your passion, give us a call. We've got a great business system that I'm going to share with you real quick right now, assuming the computer feels like playing nicely tonight. But we've got a great business system, and it allows us to be able to have people join our business if they qualify for it. You're dealing with people's money. Your background's got to be clean. It absolutely does. If it's not, it's not going to happen. You've got to have a good heart. We can't go through and have people that, hey, if you're only doing this to be able to go out there and, hey, I just want to make some extra money, I don't really care what happens to the people that I talk to. That's not what we're looking for. But we are looking for people that want to go out there, have that impact on their communities. be able to say, you know what, whether I'm an agent or a broker here, I want to have that impact to teach others, to help other people become successful. We have a proven system. Literally all people have to do is plug into it, follow the information, the plans that we've put together. Guess what? Everybody has an equal opportunity to be successful. That's not something we see in most places, right? And we talk about starting a business. Shoot, I hate payroll. I hate contracts. But guess what? All that stuff's taken care of for us. We don't have to worry about it, right? It's already handled. It's already done. We've got contracts with the top companies within the industry. Don't have to worry about it. It's already done. The other thing that's really cool and unique is we're not here to tell our clients, hey, everything you did is wrong. We're not here to wipe the portfolio clean. We're not here to take away somebody's tax person. Definitely not. We are not CPAs. We don't do taxes. We've got some knowledge, but that's not our area. We're not trying to tell you everything your financial planner did was wrong. But we do want to bring to light some of the other tools that are out there that could be instrumental in helping people achieve their goals. And most people just don't know about them. That's the problem. They don't have the proper licenses to be able to talk about them. So that's where we come in. And again, we're going to take the approach of educating our clients so they can make a knowledgeable, educated decision that they feel comfortable with. Not just do it because the person in the cubicle next to them did it. That's not our style, right? But in closing here, what the business has done for me is I've always been the one that shows up early, works hard, stays late. How many of y'all have been, and Mark, I know this doesn't happen now because y'all actually got a good team, right? Which is why we look for key people too, because we got to have the good team. But other places you've been at, how many times did it happen where you show up early, you're busting your tail, you're probably fixing the mistakes of somebody else, but this cat shows up 15 minutes late every other day, probably takes 15 smoke breaks a day, and gets paid more than you. Right?
That is frustrating to no end.
Isn't it? So now, I guess what? We get paid off of our efforts. I go out there, I do my job, I go out there, I talk to families, I get in the community. I know I'm going to go ahead and get compensated for it. I love that. All right. We also get residual income. Like I usually ask people, when was the last time I got paid at work you did 6 months ago? How about 2-3 years ago? Hey, we stay in touch with our clients to make sure that their plans stay on the books. We do the at least annual reviews with them to say, hey, how's life going? Did you change jobs? You making more? You making less? Did you pop out a kid? Like, what's going on? Let's make sure everything is still good and still we're still on track, on pace to reach your goals. So because we do that, our clients' plans stay in the books. So guess what? The companies compensate us a little bit more for that year after year after year. Yeah. And the last part that's been so powerful is just being able to leverage a system. Leverage a system that has, as my family's not getting any younger, I'm not going to go into it right now because I won't get through it before I start bawling like a 2-year-old. But I've been blessed to have the ability, especially with Zoom, to be there for my family as they've aged, as there's been additional things that they needed that no one thought was going to happen. But I'm an only child. So as a client said to me the other day, we were talking, he's like, yeah, me too. It was always my turn to take out the trash. Yes, bro. Yes, exactly.
I know that feeling.
Right? It was always my turn to take out the trash. So, hey, you know what? It's all good. But I've got the ability, the time, the flexibility to be able to do that, to be there for my family. And I love that. So if anything that we've mentioned tonight about what we're doing, how we're going out and serving the community is appealing to you, please reach out to us, give us a call. We'd love to talk with you and see if this might be a good opportunity for you. But if things were working, I would show you the last thing. The one place we always start is we want to show people what are our goals? What are we going to do this? How are we going to put things together? And we have a one-page form because most people don't like filling out forms at all. So we figure we've got to condense down to a short form, one page that gives us a snapshot of what you're working with, what your goals are, and that allows us to review it. How much is coming in? How much is going out? Where is it going out to? What plans and tools are you using to save for your future? Let's talk about those together. Make sure you understand what you have. If it's good, we go high five you or virtually high five you. Say congratulations, it's cool. Keep it. But if there's something we can do that'll complement what you're already doing, hey, let's just take a deeper look into it. All right. So with that, that's the stuff we want to share with y'all tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Both sides, again, always appreciate y'all opening the doors up for us to come out and share with the community.
Wow. Well, let me first of all just say thank you to both of you for the information. This is almost what I would consider to be a fiduciary responsibility that you guys have for bringing this information to the community. And for those who don't understand, somebody who is a fiduciary, they are legally obligated to give you information that is in your best interest.
Yep.
Unfortunately, with our community in particular, there seems like there's such a lackadaisical attitude, whether it's just from the overwhelming sense of trauma from struggling financially, always feeling like you just never have enough just to survive, that the ability to think about planning for generational wealth isn't even a conversation that most people in our community are able to have. So can you kind of talk about the different strategies and how you approach the conversation with different people? Because for those who do have some capital, maybe they got an inheritance, maybe they got a settlement, maybe they were fortunate enough to have the type of career that allows them to make money to where they can cover their living expenses and have some extra, as opposed to those who are just, look, man, I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul right now. So how can I find some way to, with no capital, to start thinking about generational wealth? What are the difference in strategies and how you approach the conversation with those different levels of people?
Nice.
I want to just say something really quick. I think it's just meeting them where they're at. At the end of the day, just having some conversation with them, but talking in simple terms, like, so that it's not like so overwhelming, and just knowing that it takes time and it's a process, and just being upfront about that. They don't have to know everything right away. It just takes time and it's a process. Go ahead, Sean.
No, like, you start somewhere. And I love Cynthia's perfect. Your background. I don't care if you take a mason jar and you put $2 a month into it, as long as you're doing something to start that habit of savings, right? It's usually not a math problem. It's an us problem, right? And I love the example that I saw at my church. This was years ago. There was a guest pastor came in and he had a couple of pies. And the first pie he cut up, and this concept works whether you have spiritual beliefs or not. So roll with me, y'all. So the first pie, he took it and he kept, well, this is for fun, and this is for this bill, and this is for that bill, and that this. Oh, well, God, here's some crumbs from my tithe and offer. Here you go. And he said, well, now this other pie, he took it and he cut that first 10% slice out. Said, God, here's my tithe. Now he had 90% of the pie left. And then he said, now look what God can do to bless it. Here's your whipped cream. Here's your cherries. Here's your sprinkles. Here's your nuts. Here's your pineapple, whatever else it is you want to put on there, right? Now there's something left for him to bless and work with. Whether it's our tithe and our offering, or it's just paying ourselves first. If we don't pay ourselves first, who's going to pay us? Is Amex going to write you a check? Like, oh, I know you've been pretty good paying us back, so, here's $100 back. That's not what happened. If you don't pay yourself first and develop that habit of paying yourself first, then it's going to be a struggle. And then, Mark, you mentioned, like, for somebody that gets an inheritance, or they've got money, or if anything they can do to save, it's going to be like Cynthia said, meet them where they're at. There's never a cookie cutter approach for, oh, you should just do this if you get an inheritance. There are so many different tools and strategies that can be used out there. It depends on how much time someone has, and how much money, and how much health, and what are their plans and abilities to continue contributing or not. Right? Like, I was thinking of a plan for a client earlier this week that we were talking to, and the amount of money that he's putting away for insurance through his job is nuts. And I went through and I'm running some numbers, so okay, we could try this plan. But then I looked at it, and once I put the numbers in, which is why we do that, I said, well, shoot, he wants to retire sooner than it makes sense for him to use this plan. This would have been a great plan had we talked 5 years ago. But for this gentleman that's going to retire within the next 5 years, It just doesn't make sense. He's got the money, but he doesn't have the time. Right. So we've got to go a different strategy. So it really all depends on the individual, but that's the beauty of us working with over 70 different companies. So we have options. I don't care which company or companies we hook you up with. We just want to get you with the right ones that are going to serve your purpose. Right.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And again, because I'm thinking of the everyday person that I come in contact with, that I see. And I know you talk to a wide range of people with different scenarios. When you look at the amount of blended families that we have, when somebody comes to the end of their life and they transition, and then everybody's trying to figure out how to divide the money, how do you approach blended family situations with having a plan to make sure that the assets and that have been accumulated don't just get split up and then everybody goes their separate way and blows the money? What kind of tools are there to make sure that blended families can keep generational wealth intact but still make sure there are distributions?
Well, I want to just say, because I come from a blended family in a sense too, or and I have been. So I think most importantly, it's like what you want as a parent, and like you want to think everything's gonna be fair, but it's not that it's not fair. It's like parent or make a choice about things, and I think it's having a conversation of this person gets this and why, and it's just a conversation that sometimes is touchy feely, but I think you just gotta have it, and once have that understanding, hopefully everything will just go as it needs to go. But that I think it's just more the emotions and feeling around it, and but just talking about it, because what are you gonna do if your mom or your dad wants things? And my mom, obviously, my dad already passed, but there's particular things that she wants, and I'm like, okay, just have to go with what it is, like. So that's kind of having that kind of conversation without trying to have the ill feelings around it, which I know that's the challenge, right? It's all good. At the end of the day, God's going to provide.
No, and it starts with that conversation, but it leads to at least to 5 letters for a lot of people. A trust. When you have that trust, that allows your wishes to live on beyond your body, right? And within that trust, you have your power of attorney for medical, finances, your advance directive, right? And some of the biggest strifes among families are, well, so-and-so's in a coma. What do we do? They don't want to be around. Let them go. Pull the plug. No, they're going to come back. I want to keep them. And now you got this happening in the family. Meanwhile, so-and-so's laid up there with tubes coming in and going out of them. Do they want that? Is that what they wish to have? I would say for myself, my stuff's written out. Okay, it says y'all have 2 weeks, and if the doctor's not saying something crazy, you're not seeing some signs after 2 weeks, y'all pull it, and you have a party, and you enjoy it, and it's not sad. It's a celebration of the good things I did, and the stories that don't need to be told, you can just not tell them. Okay, y'all that are listening, just reminder: don't tell them. Okay. Right, but that advanced directive for how do we want to be treated is so critical, because that terrified me. It terrified me to think I could be in a coma for months and just laying there. I can't respond, not in pain, but can't move, can't respond, can't do anything. That's the worst thing I can think of as far as still being alive. But that's taken care of now. The other part: do people want to be buried? Do they want to be cremated? It's already taken care of. Right? Mom said she wanted to be cremated from the time I was a kid, and I didn't know what that meant. I just knew I didn't want to burn mom up. I didn't think that sounded like a good idea. But again, that's what I was told and thought back then. Now that I understand it, I'm like, oh, okay, no big deal. So as I was setting my uncle up, or making sure he was set up, because thank God he was, because otherwise it would have been an extra $15,000 over the 20-some he'd already paid if he hadn't already paid for it and had it set up. I took care of mom's stuff because I knew what she wanted. And then they asked me, well, what do you want to do? Like, me? What you mean, me? No, I'm doing this to somebody else, not me. So I realized I needed to have that thought and that conversation with myself. And what do I wish to have done? I'm an organ donor. If there's anything left, have fun with it. But yeah, no, I don't need to keep them around. Like, burn me up too. So we're gonna be in the pergola in the back of the cemetery where the rest of the family is by the waterfall. It's done. There's no conversation. It's already on paper. It's already paid for. But again, burial, cremation, that fight within the family, right? If we're sick and injured, who can make medical decisions for us? Who can access our finances? If we don't have those things in place, even having the right plans in place without the proper ability to access them, you can still go through that financial strife and turmoil because nobody can access your finances or make decisions for you. It can all go up in smoke anyway. Yeah. So I'll summarize by saying what I usually say it is if your assets are a 1-bedroom apartment and the best thing you got in there is your 65-inch TV and you got one child, a will suffice. That's fine. Ain't nobody argue over, ain't much there. But you own a home, you have more than 6 figures in assets and or blended family, right? You've got some stuff, you've got multiple children, get that trust in place. Because that's going to be something that's legal, it'll hold up in court, and your wishes will be executed to the T.
Yeah. Now, and actually, I wanted to ask something else because you talked about multiple streams of income and having businesses. For somebody, a lot of businesses are sole proprietorships. You know, a lot of people are kind of creating their own job, so to speak, and trying to grow it until it gets to the point to where they can bring on employees. But usually they're either more established in life or a little later on. What kind of tools can you put in place specifically to protect businesses and intellectual property, things like that? If somebody passes on and they want that business to continue to stay in the family name, how do they protect those?
Again, similar process. If you talk to a lot of people, especially the ones we're emulating are the ones that are successful, that have already gone through the struggles, right? Let's be real, right? Interview your future. You think you want to stay at your job for the next 20 years? Talk to the guy that's been there 25. See if you still want to stay there, right? So people that are doing really well, a lot of them are broke on paper because all the assets are in the business, or it's in a trust, or it's in a trust of a trust. So there's different ways to layer it depending on the level of success, I guess we'll say, or revenue that business generates. Right? There's different ways that, again, not going to get into taxes because that's not our area. But there's different ways that you can file. Like there's different types of corporations you can set up that will allow you to leverage different tax advantages based off of the revenue that companies generate. So it's important to talk to someone that's knowledgeable there so that you can structure yourself in the right way to get the most advantages and make sure that everything you have set up will also be able to be passed on to the family. Right. Another thing with businesses, if you have, let's say we've got Mark, we got you and your spouse, we got me and mine. Well, let's say our spouses don't like each other for whatever reason. If I'm gone, that leaves my spouse to have to work with you and your spouse. Well, if they don't want to do that, then you've got a problem with the business. So a lot of times you can do different types of insurances where it's either a key man insurance, like this person were to leave, this company's gone, right? So John should probably get something good for you and Ivan for show, right? A little key man insurance in y'all, because if y'all are gone, hey, well, you know,
have to come back on here. And it's funny because I literally just had this conversation this morning. I recently took on a new position with a solar company down in the Virgin Islands, and I'm managing remotely a sales team, but planning to relocate. And the owner, like I say, me and him are on video calls. He struggles with sickness, and I just asked him, I'm like, man, if something happens to you and I get relocated, like, what happens to the company? How do things keep rolling? Mm-hmm. And he mentioned, having key man insurance and things in place. Sometimes, again, we don't even know what questions to ask, and I'm a little upset just personally with our community. When it's time to turn up, to throw a party, go to a game, protest the latest social issue, we're all into it. We get passionate about those things.
Mm-hmm.
The fact and the reality that our financial wherewithal is the greatest determining factor of the quality of our life. And it seems like we just don't care. Like we don't even investigate these things. I really, as we wrap this up, because y'all literally laid out all the information. Anybody who wants to have an understanding or the contact, they can go back and watch this. But I want you to say something to the community, literally, that piss them off enough to start taking their financial future seriously. We play too much. So please say something to the community, to the people to get their attention, because this is too important of a conversation not to have. We got to stop sweeping this under the rug. Because I was like, yo, I grew up, we didn't talk about money.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, don't worry about that. That ain't your responsibility. Just don't tell nobody what you're making. Don't talk about money. Didn't talk about religion, money, and politics. That was the thing. But because we don't have that conversation, we don't have the financial literacy, we don't know what's available. I want you to say something to the community that's going to make them mad enough to go find out what they need to know.
Well, I can start. I don't know if it'll make them mad or uncomfortable, but I think that what's important is that they take action and don't leave it for tomorrow, because at the end of the day, when things are going, something happens, then people are wanting to do things. And I'm going to speak just, for example, for one of my family friends, that her son passed away, and she had gotten a plan, and then she let it not, she didn't pay it, and then he got killed. He got shot. And it made me angry, but it made me sad, right? Because it's like, you had it, you could have done them. We got to do things different. Don't I mean, at the end of the day, like, I can play the blame game, but I'm not. Like, I got to make different choices. So people need to step up and make different choices, take action. I know it might be a little scary, but you got to step out of your comfort zone to get somewhere else, or else you're going to stay the same way, sadly. So
all the things that we want are outside of our comfort zone, straight up, right? And Mark, why don't people talk about money? Why don't people talk about their income? Why do you think?
Either shame or embarrassment,
or
they're just not. They feel like they're not making enough. And then nowadays, because again, the high value conversation, I know particularly for men, a lot of our identity is tied to it. And that's, again, one of the things is we'll buy designer clothes and spend all of our money trying to look good.
Look like we got money.
But we ain't got nothing.
You deeper in the hole because you tried to front. Right? I believe one of the main reasons we don't talk about our income is because we can be real here. I'm making this much. I'm making that much. Right? You got somebody that looks different than you, talks different than you, male, female, different race, younger, older, less work, more work, knows somebody, doesn't know somebody. And it's like we talked about right when we started tonight. That person that comes in that don't do anything, that you're fixing their mistakes for them, they're making more money than you are. So I believe that's a big reason why it's been told for us not to talk about our income, how much money we're making. Hey, if we got the guts, have those conversations. Now, don't get yourself fired or written up when you do it. But if you want to have those conversations while you work, find out how much you're getting paid in comparison. Make sure you're getting paid fairly, because I know there's a lot of people, especially in our communities, and females that are out there that they've forgotten more than we're ever going to know, that aren't getting paid what they're worth just because of a gender and identification and color, which isn't right. Now, he said, give them something to tick them off. Can you unlearn something you've already learned? Can you unhear something you've already heard? Don't make other people responsible for your irresponsibilities. You know there's options out there now. You know there's people you can go talk to. to get things set up, to at least take the steps now to work to get things set up in whatever capacity you're able to. Don't sit there and say, I can't do anything, or I'll do it later. And then later doesn't come. And then we see another stupid GoFundMe on Facebook or another church car wash because things weren't planned out. Don't make other people responsible for your irresponsibilities, because you now have the knowledge and the ability and the people to talk to move in the right direction. There's no excuse. That hit me. I trust it's going to hit a couple other people.
There you have it, community. Brother Sean has laid it out. Ain't nobody coming to save us. You are responsible for making sure you and your family have what you need financially. You can't depend on the government. You can't depend on corporate America. You are responsible for your own financial destiny. And you have two wonderful experts that have come on and given you the basic introductory information that you could lay a foundation to start building generational wealth. So with that being said, as we wrap up, as always, we want to give you an opportunity to give any shout outs about anybody that's helped, mentor, support, or encourage you along the journey. Please give the flowers while you have the opportunity.
Well, I want to do a shout out to Zach Grants, because he's one of my biggest mentors. And, besides, like, I feel like my kids and my family, because they're always teaching me how to be a better me and talk about things that my parents didn't talk to me about.
Yeah. The friends and family, which I'm not going to mention specific names, but the ones that I've talked to in the last 24 hours that have been there regardless of what's going on. Like, y'all definitely know who you are. And whether things are good, things are bad, that we've been able to be there for each other and have open conversations, which I've realized that some of my best friends have also become some of my best clients as well. Because we are cool. We do love each other and care about each other, and we're here to help each other out and support each other in whatever fashion we can. And that's just been a blessing bigger than I could ever ask for. So I appreciate everybody that's been out there and supportive regardless of what the situation is.
Well, there you have it, community. Cynthia Yannacone and Brother Sean Johnson have laid it out. Again, you see right there on the screen, there's their contact information. If you want to find out about their opportunity for other streams of income, or you just want to get an expert opinion, somebody to sit down with you and walk through your financial journey, please reach out, contact them. Again, on behalf of the bishop and the entire staff here at both sides of the conversation, I want to say thank you for educating the community on this Educational Thursday this evening. Y'all have truly blessed us.
Thank you for having us. Look forward to coming back again.
Yeah, appreciate it.
As always. All right. Well, community, we are not going to belabor this evening any longer. I know it's getting late. I want to thank y'all again for tuning in to another episode of Both Sides of the Conversation on an Educational Thursday. Again, on behalf of Bishop John Henry, who is always out in the community serving, we want to say thank you for tuning in. We love you. Continue, like, share, support. Y'all please go check out the Bishop's newsletter too. The Bishop puts in a lot of work on those newsletters, getting those out twice a month. Y'all please sign up and subscribe. Go to bsotc.org and y'all connect, because we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support, encourage, and uplift the community. Again, this is Brother Mark Scott, your co-host. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Thank you, community.